It is time for our Week 10 NFL Pick 6. A reminder, here are the 6 categories in the Pick 6. Our favorite touchdown scorer, a Moneyline underdog to pull off the outright upset, alt line with a sprinkle of plus money. Our favorite yardage prop of the weekend, and we combine forces for a 2-leg, 6-point teaser. This week, I promise it is going to hit. So, Joe, we saw the board very similarly in a couple of spots last week. We start the same way here entering Week 10 in the second half. We've got the same touchdown score. I'll let you bat leadoff.
Well, to me, I'm going to go to that Philadelphia-Dallas game, and I'm going to look at Jalen Hurts for a tush-push goal here, which has become quite the staple of the Eagles' scoring drives. I think it's hitting 3 games now, 3 straight games, 4 of the last 5. And which is odd because you think with Saquon Barkley on the team that he'd be some sort of TD machine, but he's not. He gets them to the goal line, and then they trust Jalen Hurts and the offensive line to get him in there at plus money, at even money. Quite honestly, I don't see any reason not to expect that to happen against this Dallas defense.
Joe, it's one of the reasons that it was my favorite touchdown score as well. Plus 105. For a guy that has scored 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games, that has multiple touchdowns then, of course, in 2 of the last 3. A guy that has scored in 5 of the 8 games his team has played this year, in 4 of the last 5. If he wasn't a quarterback, that number would be minus 185. Derrick Henry was minus 260 to hit Pater. But it's because he's a quarterback, and still the main thing he does is throw the football to others and hand the football off to others who are reportedly having better chances to find Pater. Not in this Eagles offense. If it's the tush push, great. If it's Hurts just utilizing his legs against a banged-up Dallas, an atrocious Dallas defense who is 3rd worst in the league at defending the run, great. Plus 105 for Jalen Hurts to find Pater. Moneyline underdog, that might pull off the outright upset, Germanary. Which game are you targeting?
Well, I am going to go to the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Buffalo Bills here. And listen, there aren't a ton of great looking dogs here, but I do think that there is a big letdown coming here for the Buffalo Bills. On deck is the Kansas City Chiefs here. And listen, as good as they have looked, and they have looked good, dropping 30 points on their last 3 games on teams, I just feel like Indy coming off a terrible game. Joe Flacco, they've obviously made the decision that if they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to do it with Joe Flacco at quarterback. I think they got a pretty good shot of catching this in a flat spot here for Buffalo, maybe looking ahead. Not only would I take the points, I would definitely sprinkle on the money line here. Oh, and by the way, this is now the 5th road game in 7 games here for Buffalo? It's not been a great schedule.
No, it is not, and they are back home next week in Week 11 hosting the Chiefs. That will be a big game for Buffalo, where the Bills have had the upper hand and the advantage in regular season matchups against KC. Yep. Of course, it's been a different story come the postseason. Last week, Joe, I actually thought the Colts would stay in the game Sunday night in Minneapolis, maybe even strike the upset, because you let Joe Flacco go and let him rip. Threw the ball 27 times for less than $180 and a pick. That cannot be the offense that Shane Steichen desires if Flacco is the answer. If he's going to perform like that and you're going to lose and not cover against teams like Minnesota, just play Anthony Richardson. All of that to say, I don't expect it to be the same recipe for Flacco at home. I think we see some points, and I think it is a trappy spot for Buffalo. The Colts were also a perfect 5-0 against the spread team as a dog entering Sunday night last week. This could be a challenging game for the Buffalo Bills. My moneyline underdog, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not just because the Steelers are a great underdog, as we know, under Mike Tomlin, or even recently. They've been a dog twice this year. They've won outright in both of those games. They are 13-11 as an underdog post-Big Ben. That's the start of 2022, along with the Chiefs. They are the only 2 underdog teams that have a winning record outright in that span. I also just believe, although the Commanders are a really good team and will make the playoffs, they're not going to just win every game the remainder of the way. So I think they come back down ever so slightly, and Pittsburgh has figured something out with Russell Wilson as its starting quarterback, not that Justin Fields did not. He was 4-2 as a starter. Quickly, Joe, your under of the weekend is what?
I'm going to stick in that game, the Bills and the Colts here. Again, Bills playing their 5th road game in 7 weeks, coming off an emotional win over a division rival in Miami. Chiefs on deck. And if the Colts are going to have a chance, and I think they're a live dog here, they're not going to have a chance of winning this in a shootout. I think they have to limit Buffalo. I think they will, and I think we're going to get less than the 47.5 points.
Yeah, I do think we see some points, but that's a lofty total, right? And if Buffalo is going to be on upset alert, maybe it keeps this game under as well. I'll give you my favorite under of the weekend, and we'll continue the Week 10 NFL Pick 6 live right here on a Football Friday on the Early Line on Sports Grid. Come back and join us after the break. We continue our Week 10 NFL Pick 6, our favorite bets for the weekend that is about to come around the National Football League. Joe, your favorite under, Bills, Colts, under 48, now 47 and a hook. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of the theme for the Titans and the Chargers, under 38.5. Again, you find me 39 points, as I said last week, between the Titans and the Pats, and the game even went to overtime and stayed under. I shake your hand. The Chargers have gone under in 7 of 8 games this year, in 4 of their 5 wins. Tennessee has scored 17 points or less in all 6 of their losses as a 2-6 football team. And if you put the guy wearing 8 in that white uniform, Will Levis, back on the field, alternate under 31.5. I'm going to continue to think this game stays under. The Titans are a good rush defense, but LA is going to just want to run the football for the most part. Game stays under 38.5. Even Jurinary, if your alt line with a little bit of plus money does hit, and that would be the quarterback for the Bolts on that side of the game against Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going to look to Justin Herbert over his 1.5 touchdown passes here. And let's face it, the Chargers early in the season were a running team. Why? Well, a lot of that had to do with the fact that Herbert was hurt. You don't forget the foot injuries he sustained during training camp. Well, I can tell you in the last couple of games, yeah, he's averaging 38 dropbacks, 22 completions, 287 yards a game. He's already cashed this prop twice in a row. And the Titans, yeah, well, when you look at the quarterbacks the Titans have faced, Jared Goff, Josh Allen, Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, guess what? All of them threw more than 1.5 touchdown passes. No reason to think that the scoring is only coming from the Chargers, and chances are a couple of touchdown passes in the future for Herbert.
And I'm cool with that. By the way, in all 5 wins for LA, it was my favorite TD score last week for a reason. Almost thought about just going back to it because the Bolts are a 7.5-point favorite. J.K. Dobbins has scored a touchdown. Even if they get 4 touchdowns and it's 28 something, I think it still stays under 38.5. Alt line, you gave yours there, plus 125. Mine is the 49ers team total over 33.5. Now, the Niners team total is in the upper 20s just as it is against Tampa Bay. Total for the game is 50.5. San Francisco, with the addition and the return and the season debut of Christian McCaffrey, is a 6.5-point favorite now. And so it really doesn't take much to get it to plus money. 30.5 is plus 102. 31.5 is like plus 116. But I was like, I'm trying to give out a real bit of plus money. So we go over 33.5 at plus 200. The Niners in all 4 wins this year, they're just 4-4. But in all 4 wins, San Francisco has gone over. San Francisco has covered. San Francisco has scored at least 30 points. The Buccaneers, shorthanded, have allowed at least 27 points in each of their last 5 games. They have also sadly dropped 4 of their last 5, and they have allowed at least 30 points in all 4 of those losses. And let's remember what San Francisco did out of the bye last year against Jacksonville. They had lost 3 straight, ending out in week number 8, had a week 9 bye. They play a competitive Jaguars team on the other side. They blitzed them 34-3 to start a 6 game win streak. San Francisco with a good sprinkle of plus money. And don't forget, you don't have to go all the way up to 33.5 in terms of that alt market, but I did 33.5 at plus 200 over for the 49ers team total. Favorite yardage prop of the weekend, Joe Ranieri, who are you targeting?
I am going to head to the Washington and Pittsburgh game. I'm going to look at Najee Harris over his 63.5 total rushing yards. And let's face it, you mentioned it earlier, Ben, since Russell Wilson has taken over as the Pittsburgh QB, he has rushed 19 plus times in both games for over 100 yards each time, going up against a Washington defense that is surrendering the fourth most rushing yards a game. I thought the game total was too low, and I also think this rushing prop number is too low, given that they have much more balance with the threat of the long ball here and the ability to be able to push the ball downfield. I think Najee Harris is primed to have another big game on the ground in this one.
Yeah, and Joe, based on that yardage prop, it doesn't even have to be all that big. Najee Harris has reached the century mark in 3 consecutive games. That number is 63.5. The Giants, the New York Football Giants, put up 164 rushing yards against the Commanders last week. I don't know. I mean, that's just expecting the Steelers not to be a great offense, but they haven't been pretty bad at all this year, but certainly with Russell Wilson, really intriguing number that I think is a discount. I think the Bears win big on Sunday back in Chicago. I think being back home after the tumultuous last 2 weeks is going to be a good ingredient for the Bears against the Patriots defense that against the run is also bottom 10 in the NFL. And, Joe, the Chicago Bears are a perfect 3-0 at home in Soldier Field in the Windy City, and they have been a favorite in all 3 games, and they have covered the number. And AndreSwift has been a big reason why, at least in their last 2 home victories. AndreSwift, 82 scrimmage yards in the last 5 games, but prior to last week when the Bears looked rather lifeless in Arizona, at least 119 scrimmage yards in 4 straight. 93.5 is the rushing plus receiving yards prop against the New England Patriots. I initially thought of just his rushing yards number in the low 70s, but he is so involved in the pass game out of the backfield as well, especially as the Bears struggle to protect Caleb Williams. I was like, if I only got to add on 20, fine. Over 93.5 for AndreSwift against that Patriots defense on Sunday.
Yeah, I know that's another number, Ben. That's a bit head-scratching to me. I am with you. I expect another big effort on the ground there. The less you ask of your rookie quarterback, I think the better in games like this.
And you need it, right? And you hope the Bears are bought back in, because that would be the only thing that scares me about Chicago winning big on Sunday. Is the locker room done after Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron have just ruined the last 2 weeks and the prospect of a promising rookie season for Caleb Williams? We combine forces for our 2-leg 6-point teaser to round out the pick 6 next. We round out this football Friday live right here on the early line on Sports Grid. We finish off the pick 6. We recap the pick 6 to give you our favorite bets for week number 10. The second half of the 2024 NFL season now officially underway. We have not been great in our 6-point 2-leg teasers. One of us has been missing pretty much each and every week. Not this week, even extended into Monday. I hope we even see Monday, because I'll go off first, Joe, and then you can round us out.
Sure.
My pick is Sunday, the 49ers. I expect San Francisco to win big, as the odds do as well. 6.5-point spread on the road against the shorthanded Buccaneers. Now, Tampa is 3-3 against the spread this year as an underdog. You saw them, of course, force overtime and cover as a 9.5-point dog against Kansas City. I don't think that's going to continue this week. But even outside of that, I'll take the Niners from a 6.5-point favorite down through 3 and basically just say win the game San Francisco, which is what I think they do comfortably. 49ers at a pick'em price. Joe, let's go to Monday night and your second leg to anchor this 6-point teaser.
Yeah, and listen, are we at the point now where we're thinking the Rams are just going to run away from teams here? And I like the Rams. I like that the defense has gotten healthier. It's gotten better, but I'm sorry. Being able to get the Dolphins over a touchdown, they're a 1.5-point dog right now, teasing it up to 7.5. To me, it's a one-score game. Tua now has had a couple of weeks. They should have won that game against Buffalo last week. I definitely think they're going to be able to take advantage here of that young secondary of the Rams. Expect a big game from Tyreek Hill and company. I think they have a shot at not only covering this, man, but maybe even winning it outright. So I'll go ahead and take the 7.5 points with Miami.
The Fins have not been a great underdog with Mike McDaniel, who became the coach, of course, in South Florida to start 2022. They are just 7-11 against the spread as an underdog, did cover last week against Buffalo. But, Joe, Miami can't just cover anymore. They need to win games outright starting 2-6. They have just three outright wins in those 18 games as a dog with McDaniel as the head coach. It is the second fewest in the NFL of any underdog in double-digit games in that 2.5-year span. Only the Chargers, who have just one outright win as an underdog since 2022, has less than Miami. All right, Joe, let's go back to the pick six. Make sure everybody has every single selection for Sunday and Monday. Rattle off your pick six in full just to recap everything on this board.
Sure. Going Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown. We're going to look at Indy as your money line underdog. I do like the under, though, in that Buffalo and Colts game. Justin Herbert will be my alt line, going up and over 1.5 touchdown passes. Najee Harris over 63.5 rushing yards. And the teaser leg for me will be the Miami Dolphins getting 7.5.
Like that, take it through the two key numbers of 3 and 7. It's now 7 and a hook. I'll start with my favorite touchdown scorer. It's the same exact guy. It's Philadelphia's quarterback in Dallas on Sunday, Jalen Hurts at plus 105. We said it, Joe, and breaking it down. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns in the last 3 games. If that was the case for anybody not playing quarterback, the number would be minus 150. It's plus 105. I like that price. Dallas is atrocious defensively. My money line underdog, the Steelers to win outright against the Commanders. Still think Washington is a good team. I just think the Steelers are a great underdog. In both of their games that they dogged this year, they've won outright. They're 13-11 straight up as an underdog since the start of 2022. My favorite under, Titans, Chargers, under 38.5. You're going to play Will Levis. Good luck, Titans offense. And if you're playing the Chargers, who have gone under in 7 of 8 games, points at a premium. Alt line, 49ers with Christian McCaffrey back over their team total of 33.5 at plus 200. Again, you can still get plus money on a lower alternate. I just think they go off against the shorthanded Buccaneers, who have allowed 30 points in 4 of their last 5 games, all 4 losses. My favorite yardage prop, AndreSwift, over the combo number, rushing plus receiving of 93.5 against the New England Patriots. Chicago at home. I expect them to win comfortably, as do I expect the 49ers. Take them down from a 6.5-point road favorite in Tampa to just a pick-em price against the Buccaneers. Joe, that's that for a Football Friday. I'll see you tomorrow on a Saturday, my man, for college football.
Looking forward to it. Great games tomorrow here, Ben. Let's go. We're that much closer to a 12-team playoff.
Ooh, and I think you're working at that Game Time Decisions, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
I'll
the
be
case.
there.
Have a wonderful Friday, Joe and Harry. And to all of you, have a wonderful weekend. The early line is back on Monday.